When it comes to the 2023 NFL Draft, it's the year of the edge rusher. That's great news for the Bears because they currently only have 3 edge rushers under contract for 2023: Trevis Gibson, Dominique Robinson, and Terrell Lewis. Let's go over each of these players quickly, and then I'll discuss draft options to upgrade the position. Trevis Gibson looked like an ascending player after the 2021 season. He filled in great for Khalil Mack and had 7 sacks in limited action that season. He got more playing time this year and started out the year hot with a 2-sack game in Week 2 against the Packers. But unfortunately, he didn't get his 3rd sack until Week 17 against the Lions, and he finished with 3 sacks on the year and was mostly a non-factor, especially after we traded Robert Quinn. He still has potential to be a good player, but he needs help. Same for Dominique Robinson, a 5th-round rookie who showed a ton of potential in camp and early in the season. He had his best game of the year in Week 1 against the 49ers when he had 1.5 sacks and a tackle for loss. He failed to get another sack the rest of the season. D-Rob has a lot of potential. He's still raw and should only get better by bulking up in the offseason. I like him a lot. I think he needs to be a backup player next year and not a full-time starter. Eberflus rotates players on the defensive line a lot, so we usually have 3 defensive ends playing roughly 40% of the snaps, and D-Rob fits great as a 3rd or 4th edge rushing option. Also want to mention Terrell Lewis, who is under contract. He was called up for the final game of the season, but he missed it due to an illness, so he never got a chance to play with the 2022 Chicago Bears. He's an athletic freak with some natural pass rushing skills, but we can't count on him being a full-time player. I do hope he gets some chances in camp and preseason next year, though. Overall, Ryan Poles needs to add help at defensive end this offseason. It's very high on our needs list and something Ryan Poles has to prioritize. That's where the Bears are in luck because the defensive end class in the 2023 NFL Draft is special. It's easily the deepest position in the entire draft, only being rivaled by the awesome running back class to this point. There are a variety of pass rushing options for every defensive scheme. Let's get right into my top 10 defensive ends for the 2023 NFL Draft. I'm going to go from the top down in this one. Starting at number 1 is Will Anderson. He's widely viewed as the best defensive end prospect in this entire class. He terrorizes opposing quarterbacks and is also an elite run defender. He has some elite pass rushing moves and insane athleticism. He's a smart, high-character player who's a lock to go in the top 5 picks of the NFL Draft. Next up is Tyree Wilson. I recently did a full scouting report on Tyree. Check that out if you want a deeper look at this guy. He's a freakishly athletic edge prospect that could also play 3-tech. He's a top 10 pick and could go in the top 5. There's even a chance he goes ahead of Will Anderson. Coming in at number 3, I have Myles Murphy from Clemson. He's a guy I like a lot. To me, he reminds me a lot of former Bears defensive end Alex Brown. He's 6'5", 275-pound, powerful edge prospect who should be a day 1 starter due to his ability to play the run and get after the quarterback. At number 4, I have a guy who's been flying up draft boards. That's Lucas Van Ness from Iowa. He's so athletic, flexible, instinctive, and powerful. He's just really fun to watch on tape. He has only 2 years of college football experience and is still a bit raw, but he has the potential to be the best pass rusher in this entire class, and that'll get him drafted very high. Coming in at number 5 is another guy that's flying up draft boards. It's Will McDonald. I've always been a big fan, but I really wanted to see how he performed at the Senior Bowl, and he exceeded even my highest expectations. He looks like a legit first-round pick. At number 6, I have LSU edge rusher B.J. Ojulari. The way he explodes off the line and uses a variety of pass rush moves, I just think he's ahead of some of those guys I watched at the Senior Bowl. He's a legit pro prospect and one of my favorite second-round talents if he falls. He's 6'3", 250 pounds, but he has the frame to bulk up and be a full-time player at defensive end. At number 7, I have a guy who's a bit of a project, but he's so intriguing. It's Georgia's Nolan Smith. I think he's more of a hybrid player than a full-time defensive end, but similar to Micah Parsons, he has such burst and bend around the edge that you have to use him as a pass rusher to some capacity. He's an incredible athlete and pure football player. He's too good to simply ignore, even if he's a bit of a tweener with some injury concerns. At number 8, I have Kansas State's edge rusher Felix Udike Uzoma. Forgive me if I said that name wrong. He has a big, powerful frame, and he shows violent hand usage and power at the point of attack. He could realistically play defensive end or 3-tech in the Bears defense, and he offers a ton of upside. It's hard to tell where he will get drafted before the combine, but he's a borderline first-round talent. At number 9, I have Ohio State's Zach Harrison. He just looks the part. He has a long, athletic frame, 6'6", 270 pounds, and has ridiculous athleticism. He's a pure defensive end prospect who has as much upside as any player in the draft. He should wow scouts at the combine, and he could vault his draft status into the first round. He's currently my favorite second-round edge prospect. And then coming in at number 10 is Georgia Tech's Keon White. He earned some money at the Senior Bowl. His nonstop motor and relentless pursuit of opposing quarterbacks was a staple throughout the entire week. He's a 6'5", 280-pound edge prospect with a non-stop motor that our coaching staff would sure love. He's a guy I would love if the Bears ended up with in the second round. And that's it for the top 10. That's a pretty incredible top 10 if you ask me. We should be able to get at least one of those guys in the second round. On top of that, there's a ton of talent outside of the top 10 pass rushers as well. Guys like Andre Carter, Derek Hall, Isaiah Foskey, KJ Henry, Byron Young, Haba Baldonado, Tyler Lacey, Brenton Cox, Dylan Horton, BJ Thompson, Ali Gay, Yaya Diaby, and others. This is quite possibly the best group of pass rushers I've ever studied in the NFL draft. The defensive end class itself is special. That's really good news to Ryan Poles and Ian Cunningham because the Bears need help at defensive end. We were one of the worst teams in the league at getting after quarterbacks. D-Rob and Trevis Gibson have potential, but we need to add at least 2 more defensive ends to the roster. The free agent class isn't great, but this draft class has an insane amount of pass rushing talent. Ryan Poles will have even more flexibility because he doesn't have to take an edge rusher in the first round, even if he can't find anyone in free agency. The draft is deep with pass rushers, and some of the day 2 players have potential to be 10-plus sack guys at the NFL level. I couldn't be more hyped about this defensive end class. I get to see all of these guys in person next week at the NFL Scouting Combine, and I cannot wait. Thanks so much to everybody who watches and listens. Please remember to hit that like button. I have so much more coming, and next week I'm going to be pumping out videos from the Combine. Stay tuned, guys, and until next time, bear down.